kilos.
kilos. Just one to give me time. That's, yeah. Andre?
The way we live, the community we build, how we care for each other and the environment around us. In a world that can often feel out of balance, we have found a peaceful path to what matters most. The result is a country like no other that dares to think differently and shines from day to night. Where visitors come for the natural beauty and unforgettable experiences, that return for the love of the people. Where you are always on a journey of discovery and have never felt more alive. Where we act from our heart and welcome you to do the same. In Costa Rica, life's essentials found here.
Su Excelentísima Vicepresidenta de la República de Costa Rica, Her Excellency F.C. Campbell Barr, Vice President of the Republic of Costa Rica. Her Excellency F.C. Campbell Barr, Vice President of the Republic of Costa Rica. Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica. His Excellency Rodolfo Solano Quiros, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Worship of the Republic of Costa Rica. The Honorable Olivia Grange, CDMP, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment of Sport of Jamaica. Senator the Honorable Leslie Campbell, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica. Her Excellency Gina Guillen Grillo, Ambassador of the Republic of Costa Rica to Jamaica. Mr. Nestor Matis Williams, Mayor of Limon in Costa Rica. And Mr. Kenneth Campos, International Relations Manager for the Costa Rican Post Office. Specially invited guests, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen from Costa Rica and Jamaica, good day to you all. We are gathered here and we must apologize for our late start, but here we are celebrating an occasion of great importance and significance for our two countries. 50 years ago on this day, the 21st of July, Jamaica and the Republic of Costa Rica embarked on diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations recognize the sovereignty of each state and articulates the desire of each state to collaborate with each other. Diplomatic relations are made even stronger when the nations have other forms of expression In the case of Jamaica and Costa Rica, this came after 150 years of Jamaicans and Costa Ricans living together in shared experiences. And so today we are happy and we are proud to join two nations in one activity, when Pura Vida meets Irie. And so here in Jamaica, we say Irie, and it's very similar to what you mean in Costa Rica as Pura Vida, a desire to live freely, a desire to be happy, and a joie de vivre that you see when you go through the island of Jamaica. And so to my Costa Rican brothers and sisters, even through the virtual space, welcome to Jamaica, welcome to Jam Dung, welcome to Jam Rock, and all the very important things we call it, including yard, right, ministers? And so here we are in this very, very important activity. And so without further ado, I'm going to call upon His Excellency Mr. Rodolfo Solano Quiros, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Worship from the Republic of Costa Rica. And let me tell you something about Mr. Quiros, because it's very important. Between 2019 and 2020, he was Administrative Vice Minister of Public Transportation and Strategic Management in the Ministry of Public Investment and Transportation. 2017, he was Ambassador in Special Mission in Indonesia, where he opened the Embassy of Costa Rica. 2015 to 2019, he was Ambassador of Costa Rica in the Republic of Korea, Brunei, Dar es Salaam, and Malaysia in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Worship. 2014 to 2015, he was Minister Advisor in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Worship. 2011 to 2013, he was Minister Counselor and Consul General of Costa Rica in the Embassy of Costa Rica in Japan. And he has been Ambassador in Special Mission in India and Singapore, where he opened embassies in both countries. And so without further statements, I welcome to this gathering of officials from Costa Rica and Jamaica, His Excellency Rodolfo Solano Quiros. Welcome, Excellency.
Thank you so much for this energetic welcome. This is a very happy and energetic 50th anniversary celebrations. Madam Epsi Campbell-Barr, Vice President of the Republic of Costa Rica, Her Excellency Senator the Honorable Camina Johnson-Smith, my dear friend, Her Excellency the Honorable Olivia Grains, City MP, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport of Jamaica, His Excellency Senator the Honorable Leslie Campbell, Minister of State at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica, Mrs. Gina Guillén Grillo, Ambassador of the Republic of Costa Rica to Jamaica, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors credited to the Government of Costa Rica and Jamaica, High authorities from Costa Rica and Jamaica, Mr. Nestor Matis Williams, Mayor of the City of Limon, thank you so much for being our host. Congressman David Gurson, who is joining us by the virtual way, Mrs. Andrea Centeno, CEO of Yapdeva, and Mr. Jeff Edwards, manager of the Casa de la Cultura. Thank you so much for joining us in this great opportunity. And I said it's a great opportunity because even it's a little bit foggy here in Limon, we can see from the coast the line of Lionel Town in Jamaica. That means that 1,000 miles between Limon and Jamaica is not a distance anymore. We are more closely than we are 50 years near each other. A powerful figure that portrays the sensitive poet Alison Hutchinson, in which he talks about his school moments, where his teacher had distractedly forgot a glove in his desk, leaving Africa looking our way. as if we were students in the same school, we, citizens of the America, and I add, we, citizens from the Caribbean, know that there is not corner in all our continent, in all our Caribbean region, that Africa is not looking at as a loving mother who closely follows the fate of her seeds spread out on the new continent during the centuries of the colonization. The Afro-American population is the tangible evidence of a history of human resilience, a history that runs through the veins of Costa Ricans since its inception, with all the cultural and spiritual heritage that this implies, thanking our common ancestors through our highest chairs. Dear Minister, friends, what makes Costa Rica and Jamaica same land, same horizon, same hope? We are friendly people, warm climate, and amazing beaches. This is why is in the obligatory diaspora of people from all over the globe who came to compose the Costa Rican characteristic mosaic. The arrival of the Jamaicans meant an injection of a new force who found itself with a society that had already 2 centuries of Afro-descendants. Perhaps, for this reason, it will quickly mix, introducing the Caribbean's culture with its traditions that distinguish us today as a multi-ethnic, multicultural society, but above all, for being a happy and grateful society in the broadest definition of its identity. As reminded to us by the Costa Rican historian Axel Alvarado, on December 20, 1871, 150 years ago, the first 300 Jamaicans hired to work on the construction of the railroad that will connect the Central Valley with the Costa Rican Caribbean coast, arrived at the port of Limon. Those first Jamaicans who, by the beginning of the 20th century, were already 18,000, represented the major ethnic group, framing the city of Limon in a very particular geographical space, unique in Costa Rica, where the language spoken by the inhabitants was English. They left their country with a faith, hope, and dream of being able to return to help their families with the fruit of their work. However, circumstances settled them in the Caribbean coast of Limon, not only to work on the construction of the railroad, but also for the planting of bananas. Over the years, they began to root in Limon with their wives and daughters and sons, and continued contributing with hard work on the construction and operation of the main port of Costa Rica and Central America at that time. During the 19th and 20th centuries, Jamaicans brought to Costa Rica a space for exchange and cultural, religious, spiritual, linguistic, musical, and gastronomic great contributions. The Jamaican presence in our country enriched the Costa Rican culture, and one of its biggest contributions is the calypso. By the way, we have in Costa Rica, with great pride, one of the greatest representatives of calypso music in the entire Caribbean, Mr. Walter Ferguson. Costa Rican gastronomy was enriched with rice and beans, with rondon and with breadfruit and ackee. And we have a branch of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, founded by Marcus Garvey in 1922. Garvey's struggles, enjoying the city of Limon, and in what was Pan-Africanism. Let's remember and clarify that the Jamaicans that came to Costa Rica not only contributed with workforce, but also with intellectual and professional capacity in various fields, such as education, through the so-called English schools, commerce, and the press, through the publication of several English language newspapers, in which the intellectual thought of the founders was an obvious reflection of the thought of Pan-Africanism. Here, I am referring particularly to Mr. Samuel Charles Nation, founder of the newspaper The Times and the Searchlight, and to Mr. Alderman Johnson Roden, founder of the Atlantic Voice newspaper. Being today in Limon to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations with Jamaica is an important symbolism in the smart, action-oriented partnership we are building together. During 2021, and despite the challenges of the pandemic, our countries worked together on a strong bilateral and multilateral agenda, driven with tenacity by our ambassador in Jamaica, Gina Guillen. We partnered in initiatives to promote access to vaccines, as well as the sit-up and face financial initiative, boosted the creation of a working group on commerce, confirmed a scholarship for Jamaican students on Earth University, and identified priority areas of cooperation, such as sustainable tourism and multilingualism. I also want to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to our Telecommunications Institute, ICE, for making this connection with Jamaica possible, as well as to the municipality of Limon and the Casa de la Cultura, Recope and Habdeba, who have taken this celebration as their own, giving us all the support to accomplish this activity. Later, we will also present a commemorative postmark issued by the Costa Rican Postal Service, to whom I also express my deepest gratitude for joining this celebration of the Golden Jubilee with Jamaica. My dear friends, in Limon, Costa Rica, and Jamaica in the old Caribbean, let this celebration be an invitation to continue building bonds between the two nations, from which we have issued a roadmap to channel the energy that runs between the two countries to achieve the highest goals that our populations long for and demand. Unlike the teacher who left the globe on his desk, I would like to assure you, Minister, dear participants, that I am leaving the globe on my desk, from which Jamaica is observing us fraternally. Let's start the next 50 years of our great celebration of diplomatic relations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency Rodolfo Solano Quiroz, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Worship of the Republic of Costa Rica. And here we are, enjoying that discourse, that presentation, which we really, really appreciated and spoke to so much of what has been happening between Costa Rica and Jamaica. I heard rundown. Oh, wow. Rundown. Oh, yes. And Patty.
Also.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And so you see, here we are. The Caribbean Sea unites us, and so we're Caribbean people. And so thank you, Excellency, for your presentation. And I heard you speak about Lionel Town, which is where I live. So there you go. One up. So we continue this morning with our own minister. I call her the indefatigable Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica. Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson Smith was reappointed as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade on 7th September 2020, following her party's success at the general elections held on 3rd September 2020. She was also reappointed Leader of Government Business in the Senate, a position she has held since 2016, concurrently with her role as Foreign Minister. Notably, Senator Johnson Smith is Jamaica's first female Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and the first to be born after the nation's independence in 1962. She's quite young. As Foreign Minister, Senator Johnson Smith has represented Jamaica and the region at numerous bilateral, regional, hemispheric, and international fora. In fulfillment of our commitment to increasing Jamaica's influence and visibility, Minister Johnson Smith has, among other initiatives, chaired various high-level meetings and held crucial posts. In her first year in office, she chaired the CARI Forum Group, and in that capacity led the opening of discussions with the UK regarding post-Brexit trade arrangements. In 2018, she served as president of the ACP Council of Ministers, presiding over the process which secured the negotiating mandate of the ACP for a post-Cotonou agreement with the EU. And she's been CARICOM Council of Foreign Ministers, attending G7, G20, I can go on and on. I can add more, G7, G20, 19. But she is recognized and celebrated here in Jamaica as a distinguished Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Jamaica. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Excelentísima señora Epsi Campbell-Barr, Vicepresidenta de la República de Costa Rica. Excelentísimo señor Rodolfo Solano Quiros, Ministro de Relaciones Exteriores y Culto de la República de Costa Rica, and my brother, the Honorable Olivia Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport of Jamaica. Senator the Honorable Leslie Campbell, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica. Excelentísima señora Gina Guillen Grillo, Embajadora de la República de Costa Rica en Jamaica. Señor Néstor Matiz Williams, Alcalde de la Ciudad de Limón. Señor Kenneth Campos, Gerente de Relaciones Internacionales. Jamaicans at home and abroad, particularly in Costa Rica and our community in Limon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, friends all, a very good day to everyone, and in particular to you in Limon, una bienvenida muy especial. It is my great pleasure to greet you as we join hands in commemorating 50 years of close friendship between Jamaica and the Republic of Costa Rica. It was a similar Wednesday on July 21st, 1971, that we formally established diplomatic relations between our two countries. Soon afterwards, on July 31st, Jamaica welcomed your former president, His Excellency Mr. Jose Figueres Ferre, to our shores. Since then, Jamaica and Costa Rica have forged linkages at all levels. Just recently in May of this year, I was so happy to co-host the inaugural political consultations with my friend and brother, Minister Solano. We identified a number of key areas in which to strengthen our partnership at the bilateral, regional, and multilateral levels. Our bond is also enjoyed by Prime Minister Holness and President Alvarado, who are working very hard to deepen and strengthen our relations. They continue to lead our collaborative actions across various fora. Jamaica and Costa Rica are united in our concern for the challenges faced by middle-income developing countries and the need to bring these to the attention of the international community. We've brought urgent and much-needed attention to issues concerning climate change, the oceans, and the environment. The COVID-19 pandemic has further strengthened our shared sense of purpose, and together we have advocated for urgent action to be taken by the international community to ensure sustainable recovery and that we build back better and stronger. Some of those initiatives were mentioned by Minister Solano just now. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the partnership that I have described is preceded by many years of people-to-people connection. 100 years before the formal diplomatic establishment of diplomatic relations, the first group of Jamaicans, as you have just heard, arrived in Costa Rica to work on the railroad. And like you, Minister Solano, we have been advised that this marks the 150th anniversary of their arrival. Our two nations, washed by the same warm waters of the Caribbean Sea, enjoy similarities in the warmth of both our climates and our people. It is no wonder then that there are more than 64,000 persons of Jamaican descent living in Costa Rica, the majority in Lemon, also called Little Jamaica. This is in fact the largest Jamaican community in Central America. The strong Jamaican presence in Costa Rica has enriched our cultural expressions and gives us a chance to enhance the prospects for diasporic engagement. Jamaica's first national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey, himself officially recognized in Costa Rica for his advocacy for the upliftment of Black people, had charged that this work is far from complete. The commemoration of the International Decade for Peoples of African Descent is a reminder that much has to be done to attain the vision set out by Garvey. We are committed to working together to support the advancement of our peoples. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we Jamaicans are truly a special people. Our creativity, innovation, hard work, and resourcefulness remain sources of great pride and inspiration. Jamaicans in the diaspora, you have been central to our continued resilience and development. We believe that your unique capacity for human, social, financial, and intellectual capital, along with the unabashed pride of your dual homelands, will continue to benefit both Jamaica and Costa Rica. The recently concluded Diaspora Sustainability Symposium, held under the theme Jamaica and the Diaspora, Stronger Together for a Sustainable Future, is a clarion call for you, members of the Jamaican community in Costa Rica, to ensure that you become a part of the movement to build this partnership. I look forward to our commemoration today, excited for the prospects for the further deepening of our relationship with Costa Rica. Jamaica stands ready to play our part as we look forward to the next 50 years. Let me also extend special congratulations to our brothers and sisters in Costa Rica as you celebrate your bicentenary of independence. The government and people of Jamaica join with you in marking this significant milestone. Deseamos al pueblo de Costa Rica otros 200 años basados en los valores de la paz y la democracia. Before I close, I must share how happy I am that both Costa Rica and Jamaica are through to the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Felicitaciones a los ticos and well played, Reggae Boys. Buena suerte a los dos. Muchísimas gracias a todos. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Jamaica, and doing it very well, sharing with us. And I want the Jamaicans who are listening to see how much has been happening between Jamaica and Costa Rica. It's always good to know what the government is doing, but also what the people are doing. It was Marcus Garvey who said, if we as a people realize the greatness from which we came, we would be always likely to respect ourselves. And so this is an amazing occasion for us to remind ourselves of the power and the strength and the resilience of the people of Jamaica and our link with the people of the Republic of Costa Rica. Looking now at the cultural contributions and others of Jamaica in Costa Rica, we're going on to our next speaker, Excelentísima Vicepresidenta de la República de Costa Rica, F.C. Campbell Barr, First Vice President of the Republic of Costa Rica, first Afro-descendant woman in front of this high position in the American continent, Afro-Costa Rican leader, 2 times representative to the Congress of Costa Rica, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs in 2018. She has been recognized by Forbes magazine as one of the most powerful women in Latin America and the Caribbean, by Estrategias y Negocios magazine as one of the most influential women in the region, by the African Renaissance and the Diaspora Network as one of the most relevant Afro-descendant leaders in the American continent, and by the organization called Most Influential People of African Descent, MIPAD, as one of the most important women around the world. Before becoming vice president, she was a human rights activist on issues related to women, indigenous peoples, Afro-descendants, human development, social inclusion, and the environment. She was coordinator of the Afro-Latin American Women and Afro-Caribbean Network, coordinator of Women's Forum for Integration in Central America, founding member of the Afro-Costa Rican Women's Center and international consultant, promoter of the approval in Costa Rica of the Inter-American Convention Against Racism, Racial Discrimination, and Related Intolerance, member of the committee who prepared the Human Development Report for Latin America and the Caribbean Multidimensional Progress, coordinated by the UNDP. Mrs. Campbell has participated in different universities and international seminars organized by intergovernmental and multilateral organizations. In her role as Vice President of the Republic of Costa Rica, she works in the implementation of Franja de Desarrollo to promote greater human development in the northern border. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, F.C. Campbell Barr, First Vice President of the Republic of Costa Rica. Thank you. And as you know, the work of women have been substantial in the development of Afro-descendant culture. Women have played a major role in so many areas of recreating, transmitting cultural values across across generations. It is through our women that we have been able to maintain the kind of solidarity and the kind of knowledge. It is the women who have been the guardians of culture, who has transferred knowledge of gastronomy, who have transferred knowledge of cultural practices, who have, like in Jamaica, for example, or Kumina Queen, or in Dinky Mini, in the various areas in which we demonstrate our Africanness. Women have largely been a mighty force. And it's very interesting that today the two ministers representing Jamaica are two of the formidable women in the Jamaican cabinet. And so here they are celebrating women. And our Afro-descendant culture is also vital as we continue to celebrate what we're doing. Let's look at it. Once Jamaicans arrived in Costa Rica, it was going to change, Gina. Much was going to happen because we're going to start dancing Dinky Mini, we're going to start cooking rundown, we're going to start interacting. One of the things that people know about Jamaica is that we are very receptive of foreigners. Whoever comes to Jamaica feels at home in Jamaica. And so when we go elsewhere, we also make sure that we are a part of that society and a part of that culture and a part of that country. And so we are happy to be celebrating today Jamaica and Costa Rica in this 50 years of diplomatic relations. And here we are.
Foreign Trade of Jamaica and their sister. Mr. Rodolfo Solano Quiroz, Ministro de Relaciones Exteriores y Culto de Costa Rica. Her Excellency Olivia Grant, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Your Excellencies, ambassadors credited to the governments of Costa Rica and Jamaica, high authorities from Jamaica and Costa Rica, special guest, buenos dias, good morning. It is my pleasure to join in the celebration from distance of this very important milestone for our countries. Half a century, Costa Rica and Jamaica established diplomatic relations, consolidating the connection developed from over 150 years between our lands and our people. Because this year, we are also celebrating 150 years since the first group of Jamaican citizens arrived in Limon to work in the construction of the railroad. I'm particularly happy that the celebration in Costa Rica is taking place in Limon, which I have always felt as a little Jamaica. Today, in the framework of our Golden Jubilee, we celebrate the contribution of Jamaican diaspora to the identity, culture, and development of Costa Rica. As Jamaican descendants, we have without a doubt learned from the strength and resilience of our ancestors who overcame significant obstacles by taking extraordinary steps to achieve rights, justice, and equality. We are part of a generation of brave men and women, fighters capable of turning history and loss into freedom and pain into hope. It is also suitable that we hold this celebration in the context of the middle term of the International Decade for People of African Descent, the Decade of Action of SDGs, and in the year when we will celebrate for the first time on August 21st, the International Day of Afro-Descendants, promoted since 1920 by the Jamaican national hero Marcus Garvey and adopted by UN last year. In this sense, I want to acknowledge the contribution of the heads of mission who have represented Costa Rica in Kingston throughout the years, in particular, our dear Joycelyn Sawyers, ambassador from 2004 to 2008, who loved and still loves Jamaica with all her heart. I also want to recognize our current ambassador, Mrs. Gina Guillen, who has worked tirelessly to bring our countries even closer together. So, while I leave you to enjoy a sample of our common cultural manifestation, please know that even though I cannot be present in my heart, I am celebrating with you this Judges' occasion. Happy 50th anniversary, Costa Rica and Jamaica. Feliz aniversario.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Excellentísima FC Campbell Barr. Jamaican heritage and the work Jamaicans have done. We are very happy to have had the Vice President present with us in spirit and through her voice. It is an amazing testimony of how we have been, how we have lived, and the reasons for which we celebrate today. And we continue with this celebration by moving on to a lady whose very spirit exudes culture and entertainment, whose very walk exudes the rhythms of Jamaican culture and entertainment. The Honorable Olivia Babsy Grange has been the Member of Parliament for St. Catherine Central since 1997. She was appointed Minister of Information, Youth, Sports and Culture with responsibility for women and gender affairs, entertainment, community development and special projects in 2007. She also served as Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister from 1985 to 1989, a government senator and parliamentary secretary for information and culture from 1983 to 85. In 2015, Minister Grange was awarded the Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander for her contribution to the Jamaican music industry, cultural development, and public service. In June 2009, she had the distinction of being appointed the Caribbean community's first champion minister for culture, with responsibility for advocating, among other things, capacity building for cultural industries, cultural institutions, and individual artists. Minister Grange has had a long career as a cultural activist, working at the grassroots level in developing and managing talent. She's an artist herself, director, event planner, and an ardent supporter and promoter of Jamaica's cultural and creative industries. She's also a pioneer contributor to the development of reggae and dancehall music industry in Jamaica, Canada, and the United States. Founding JCAP and doing all she can with the copyright industry. Minister Grange was also the creator of Specs Limited and Specshang Music. Ladies and gentlemen, both in Jamaica and in the Republic of Costa Rica, I present you the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport of Jamaica, Minister Olivia Babsy Grange.
Her Excellency Epsi Campbell-Barr, Vice President of the Republic of Costa Rica. Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Colleague Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica. His Excellency Rodolfo Solano Quiros, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Worship of the Republic of Costa Rica. Senator the Honorable Leslie Campbell, Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Jamaica. Her Excellency Gina Goyeno Grillo, Ambassador of the Republic of Costa Rica to Jamaica. Mr. Nestor Mattis Williams, Mayor of the City of Limon. Mr. Kenneth Campos, International Relations Manager. Specially invited guests, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Let me add my warm welcome to all and welcome home to our Jamaican Costa Rican sisters and brothers. I've been to Limon twice. As we celebrate this wonderful milestone in the virtual realm, let us all feel at home in each other's space. Let us consider this vast expanse of the warm Caribbean Sea and the Pacific Ocean as waters that unite rather than separate us. We are, after all Caribbean people. I'm so very pleased to have the privilege of sharing this moment with my colleague, Minister, and our Costa Rican delegation led by Her Excellency Epsi Campbell-Barr, Vice President, in whom we have special pride and admiration. We salute you, not merely because of our bond by lineage, but for your sterling contribution to the promotion of African descendant people within the Costa Rican and Latin American culture and economy, and tremendous leadership in the elevation of women in general, and Afro-descendant women in particular. My colleague Minister and I are joined with you as sisters in the mission of pursuing justice, recognition of our contribution to humanity and development for people of African descent in this, the United Nations declared decade dedicated to these objectives. The quiet of the pandemic has drawn the world's attention to the work to be done to tilt the arc of our present and future towards equity for all, spanning access to vaccines, good health, care in general, education, security, and again, justice. Together our nations work towards this end, and together we will succeed. We salute the government and people of Costa Rica for its tradition of and commitment to peace, the environment, as well as sustained social and economic stability in our region. Ambassador, I look forward to working closely with you to strengthen cooperation, including South-South cooperation, and to continue to build the future our people deserve. Jamaica intensifies efforts to achieve restorative justice in the form of reparations. But together, we will explore other paths to secure sustained prosperity for our people. Today, our two countries come together to celebrate 50 years of diplomatic relations. It has been 50 years of a strong and special relationship, which has seen cooperation reflective of common interest, shared destinies, and fraternal relations. Both of our countries have emerged from years of European colonialization. Though Costa Rica achieved independence long before us, we recognize that in both our countries, the resistance to colonial systems took many lives of positive citizens. I believe this appreciation of the commonality of our struggles was among the bases that helped both our countries forge the strong diplomatic relations that have characterized the last 50 years. The truth is that 50 years of diplomatic relations have stood on the shoulders of the migratory practices of our people across the Americas. Yes, 50 years of diplomatic relations have been made possible through decades of interconnectedness as our Jamaican people migrated far and wide in the Americas, for the opportunities it represented to them, their families, and for development of the countries to which they went. Costa Rica became one of the principal countries that welcomed our Jamaican migrants and gave them a home away from home. This we also celebrate today. Our people went where the work was. Some went, for example, to the United Fruit Company, and others to the Panama Canal. In that era of movement, our peoples drift to your friendly and fertile shores. One for Costa Rica and our people, the largest settlement of the Jamaican diaspora in Central America. Our people settled and created new livelihoods and new families. Our people became an integral part of their new society while retaining their Jamaican traditions and culture. It is a testament to the boldness and resilience of our Jamaican migrants that today the Jamaican language, our patois, is recognized among the regional languages of Costa Rica. Jamaica likewise intends to work closely with you, our partner, in relation to promoting the Spanish language as our second language. We celebrate our family in Lemon and the cultural fertilization that has occurred over time. Perhaps not well known is that national hero Marcus Messiah Garvey left home in Jamaica in 1910 for Puerto Limon, where he worked as a timekeeper on one of the banana plantations of the United Fruit Company. There in Costa Rica and then in Panama, Garvey's concern for the condition of black people grew. Garvey returned to Costa Rica on different occasions and established there one of the most successful freedom houses, Liberty Hall, headquarters of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Soon, Jamaican folk songs flowed within the new mixed families. Later, reggae music inserted itself alongside the very expansive Marcus Garvey movement there in Costa Rica. Jamaica's presence with Costa Rican culture and society became solidified, and as I stated earlier, has become the core and essence of the diplomatic relations that we celebrate today. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been brought to my attention that the government of the Republic of Costa Rica wishes to elevate the image and philosophy of Marcus Messiah Garvey by installing a painting of him in the National Parliament. As part of our celebration in 2022 of Jamaica's 60th anniversary of independence and the 135th anniversary of the birth of Marcus Garvey, I wish to pledge the commitment of my Ministry of Culture to work closely with the Costa Rican Ministry of Culture to make this Garvey project a reality. Further, we are prepared also to work closely with the government and people of Costa Rica to rehabilitate the Freedom House during Jamaica's 60th. I will, through the Foreign Ministry and the Costa Rican Ambassador, discuss how we may collaborate with the Costa Rican Ministry of Culture on these projects during the year 2022. Finally, I wish to use this opportunity to invite our diaspora in Costa Rica, led by Her Excellency, the Vice President, to participate with us both here in Jamaica and in Costa Rica in the celebration of our Diamond Jubilee and the 135th anniversary of the birth of Marcus Messiah Garvey. We, the people of Jamaica, are honored by the postmark which will be presented today. Jamaicans everywhere will always look to this symbol with deep pride and continue under one God, with one aim and one destiny. We will work to have our collaboration and our efforts result in a deepened understanding of each other's cultures, leverage each other's strengths for mutual benefit, and reflect the shared experiences and aspirations of our people. I want to add my congratulations to our footballers. We hope our Reggae Boys will meet you in the finals. What a way to celebrate our 50 years. I close by saying how excited I am at the prospect of the further strengthening of our diaspora relations with Costa Rica as part of our commitment to the diplomatic process that has been consolidated over these 50 years. We look forward to defining new cultural agreements which actively develop and sustain our peoples and enrich our world. In the words of Bob Marley, I say, one love. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you. Our Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. One love. God bless. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, the content may be diaspora relations and diplomatic relations, but the context is culture. And so as we continue to celebrate here in Jamaica with our friends in Costa Rica, we are happy to engage each other culturally. And so at this point, coming right after Minister Grange, we look at our cultural expressions, at the ways in which we have used culture, not only to exorcise the demons of the past, but to create the content and the context within which we are now moving and advancing in this future. And as a country that is celebrating with the UN the International Decade for People of African Descent, we are determined to ensure that the culture of our people should be placed center to all that we do. Whether we remember evening time, you know, Miss Lou sing evening time, and when you go to Limon, I know they know Louise Bennett. I know they remember Carry Me Aki Go Linstead Market. They remember Come Miss Clear, take the banker off your head, my dear. Evening breeze a blow, come this way, Miss Flo. They know Bob Marley. They know old pirates, yes, they rabbi. sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my hands were made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. You know, the culture of resilience of our people. I believe one of the ways in which this culture has been expressed is in the poetry of Claude McKay. Claude McKay has a poem that Winston Churchill used to use when he sent the British forces to battle. Many people thought it was his words, but it was actually the words of Claude McKay. And it tells you the resilience of our people. If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and penned in an inglorious spot, while round about us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accursed lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain, so that even the monsters we defy may be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kinsmen, what lies before us is an open grave, but like men, we'll face the murderous cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. And so here we are. We're joined now by the group Sinem from Costa Rica, from Limon, Calypso group that is part of the National Musical Education System under the Ministry of Culture of Costa Rica. They'll be performing a song written by Don Shanti, a Costa Rican Calypsonian, and the song is appropriately entitled Marcus Garvey. Performing live from the city of Limon, we welcome the Sinem group. Let's have them.
Oh, see. Marcus Garvey was a hero from Jamaica. He was all over the world. He wanted to be Marcus Garvey was a hero from Jamaica. He was all over the world. He wanted to be He was born 17th of August. So Marvin Street, down in St. Conville, it's Marcus Garvey was a hero from Jamaica. He was all over the world. He left from Jamaica to Central America, working in Costa Rica editor for a daily newspaper, Mr. Garvey. Marcus Garvey was a hero from Jamaica. He was all over the world. He wanted to unite us. He left from Jamaica to Central America, working in Costa Rica, editor for a daily newspaper. Marco Garvey, he was a hero from Jamaica. He was all over the world. He wanted to unite our people. Work in the Caribbean, in a banana plantation. 1911, he went to run Panama, Mr. Garvey.
Wow. Sinem group, I wish I could talk to them. That gentleman was singing Wagwan. I know he understands that. Wagwan, all I want to do, say howdy to the other one them for me, please. Make sure. And I hope to see you in Jamaica one of these days with that band playing at our own celebration next year for Jamaica 60. We got to work on something. Wonderful. Sinem group. Congratulations. So here we are. You know, we cannot have these kinds of things without our cultural input because everything is founded and strengthened and anchored in culture. There is no sustainable development without culture. And so we continue. Thank you very much, Sinem Limong Musical Group, doing their thing. We really appreciate it. And so we move on now to some historical perspectives. And as always, we look to the university for this kind of input. Paulette Ramsey is full professor of Afro-Hispanic Studies in the Faculty of Humanities and Education at the University of the West Indies, Mona, Jamaica. She's an interdisciplinary academic, an established writer and researcher whose interests include language pedagogy, writing theories, and Afro-Hispanic literature and culture. She has published many scholarly articles, mainly in the area of Afro-Hispanic literature and culture, in international journals such as the Afro-Hispanic Review, Palara, Bulletin of Latin American Review, Latin American and Caribbean Ethnic Studies, the Langston Hughes Review, Hispania, Caribbean Quarterly, and College Language Association. Her research draws on broad post-colonial, postmodernist theories, gender studies, feminist studies, and cultural studies, especially as they relate to issues of identity, ethnicity, and nationhood. She's regarded as one of the leading researchers in the area of Afro-Mexican literary and cultural production. Her groundbreaking book, Afro-Mexican Constructions of Diaspora, Gender, Identity, and Nation, has been translated to Spanish and is widely read as a comprehensive source for understanding Afro-Mexican literary and cultural production. She's a writer of fiction, and her novel, Aunt Jen, has been translated to German and Italian and is enjoying great popularity. She has been the recipient of several awards, including OAS, AECI fellowships, UE 60 and Under 60 Award for Outstanding Research, and the UE Principals Award. In 2014, she received the French National Award Chevalier, Knight in the French Order of Merit, from the French government for her work as the head of the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures. Ladies and gentlemen, she also received the Vice Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Research. I present to you my good friend, Paulette Ramsey, Professor Paulette Ramsey.
Yes, muy buenas tardes.
Muy buenas tardes.
Gracias.
as we look back at the history of our relationships and the relationship with Spanish, because we spoke a lot about Jamaica, but there is also our relationship with Spanish, where so many Latin Americans have come to Jamaica at different times for different reasons. It is perhaps not well known that Simón Bolívar visited Jamaica as he was developing his plan to liberate Latin America from Spain, and that he wrote the famous letter from Jamaica down at Orange Street, downtown Kingston. And so there's a statue of Simón Bolívar right here in Jamaica down by the National Heroes Circle. Most Spanish liberators always came to Jamaica because Jamaica was also seen as the source of that kind of rebellious, resistant resilience that was needed to overcome the Spanish and the European colonizers. So Guillen from Cuba came here. And so it was always a very interesting phenomenon in Jamaica. For example, we have what we call informal commercial importers, mostly women, and they would go into various places, Panama, etc., to buy and sell. And one wondered how they got through the Spanish language because they were able to do it. And so this is coming from this history that I'm sure Paulette Ramsey, my friend, will tell us about as she comes in now. Welcome, Paulette. Dr. Paulette Ramsey.
Muchísimas gracias, señor. ¿Me oye?
Sí, te oigo, te oigo.
Ok, sí, porque había un problema con el sonido. Muy buenas tardes a todos.
Buenas tardes.
I would like to respectfully recognize all distinguished members of the platform. Ladies and gentlemen, muy buenas tardes. Historical linkages between Jamaica and Costa Rica date back to 1872, when the first group of Jamaican laborers landed in Costa Rica to work in the construction of a new railway line. Jamaicans and other West Indians were sought when coffee growers in the Central Valley planned to expand their exports, but realized that they would require transportation to take the coffee to the undeveloped side of the country in order to gain access to coffee markets in Europe. The greatest challenge to this anticipated progress was the absence of a suitable labor force. Several groups of workers, including Costa Ricans, Italians, Chinese, and workers from other areas of the Caribbean basin, were recruited but proved to be unable to endure the very hostile and rough terrain through which a railway line would need to be constructed. Many West Indians had previously traveled to Panama to work in the Canal Zone and had earned the reputation as resilient, hard workers. They readily accepted the opportunity to work in Costa Rica due to the economic challenges that were being experienced at the time in their respective islands. Jamaicans became more well-known because of their larger numbers, willingness to lead, and their discipline. But West Indians in general were preferred workers because of their ability to communicate in English with American and English supervisors and managers. Initially, Jamaicans and other West Indians planned to earn money to return home and improve their standard of living. However, Keith Minor and other leaders of this project decided to embark on another project to offset the financial challenges associated with the railroad. The now infamous United Fruit Company grew out of this quest, which resulted in the mass planting of bananas for export to the United States and Europe. This increased the demand for more laborers who were easily recruited with the promise of good wages and return passages at the end of their contracts. Among the many Jamaicans who gained employment in this way was one of our most famous, our national hero, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who established a UNIA branch in Limon, which continued to be in operation for many years after he left the country. Jamaicans and smaller groups of West Indians settled in the province of Limon, which they changed physically, linguistically, culturally, and in the culinary area. Promises to provide return trips were never fulfilled by the company that contracted them. Many Jamaicans died with the words on their lips, "I want to go home to Jamaica." They established a community that was marked by their British West Indian and African cultural heritages. Educated for the most part, they communicated well in English, but also spoke Creole. They established their own schools and churches, imported teachers and ministers from Jamaica for their Baptist, Methodist, and Anglican churches, which they established. Even textbooks were imported from Jamaica, as they were determined to educate their children in the British way. They changed the landscape by taking lime trees, ackee trees, breadfruit trees, and expanded the flora of Limon, as some of them managed to travel to Jamaica and return to Costa Rica. The integration of Jamaicans into Costa Rican society was not without serious challenges, but they were eventually allowed citizenship in 1948. My introduction to these and other historical linkages between Jamaica and Costa Rica occurred because of my interest in the literary and cultural production of Black diasporic societies in the Hispanic world. My first visit to Costa Rica was undertaken as part of my doctoral work on the migration of Jamaicans to Panama and Costa Rica, and the need to witness firsthand the imprints that had been made on an entire province by a determined ethnocentric Jamaican diasporic community. My interest had been piqued by the fictionalized representation of Costa Rica's most outstanding Black writer, Quince Duncan. My visits, interactions with many Jamaican descendants confirmed the important role played by the preservation of many cultural practices, so graphically portrayed in Quince Duncan's literature. Several generations of Jamaicans in Costa Rica testified to the power of cultural marronage and of how cultures can cross oceans and survive even when altered. Duncan's literature shows how Caribbean Afro-folk forms such as obia, pocomia, he says pocomania, and Anansi folk tales are preserved to assert a unique identity. Although there is another group of colonial Blacks in Costa Rica, there are no records of literary works from this community. All Black writing in Costa Rica has been created by Black writers of West Indian, mainly Jamaican descent. Quince Duncan, the most celebrated of them, is an author, human rights activist, educator, and one of the most important connections between Jamaica and Costa Rica. He's a third-generation descendant of Jamaicans, and so he is ours as he is Costa Rican. His writings have immortalized so much of the rich cultural heritage of Jamaicans in Costa Rica, even as younger generations are moving away from Limon, and many are less familiar today with some aspects of their heritage. Duncan's writings are important readings for us to understand the pride that many in his generation still hold in the legacy and trajectory of dignified Jamaican ancestors who struggled to navigate life in the dominant Hispanic society. Other Black writers who have emerged from this community and are proud of their connections to Jamaica include Alderman Johnson and Dolores Montaut, who were before Duncan, and Eulalia Bernard, Shirley Campbell, sister of the Vice President of Costa Rica, and Delia MacDonald. They all concur that history, the history of Blacks in Costa Rica and the world all over, needs to be told. As Shirley Campbell wrote, I want to tell our history by saying how difficult it was for us to open the skin and understand the color of night in our souls, the color of earth, the good black earth, which produces the best flowers and the best crops. It cost us to finally tell the truth, tell our history in our own words, for now we know it. Today, the UWI's leadership program, which was initiated in 1995 as a training program for UWI student leaders and student leaders at La Universidad Nacional de Costa Rica, is one way in which young people are being taught about this important historical connection between us. Every year, a group of UWI students travels to Costa Rica, and this important aspect of our history is often included in their activities. Costa Rican groups often comprise students from outside of Limon for whom it is an opportunity to discover this history when they come to us at the UWI. There are students from Limon who get the opportunity to see the places they have heard so much about. It's a great learning experience for all as they immerse in each other's cultures. Today, as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs recognizes 50 years of Jamaica-Costa Rica diplomatic relations, against the backdrop of Costa Rica accidentally beating us in the match last night, our historical links go too far back for us to get upset with them. Many of those players on the field were 6th and 7th generation Jamaicans. Many of their surnames are English names that have been spelled according to Spanish sounds. We are linked not just by CONCACAF, but by our shared history and by the tremendous legacy which Jamaicans left behind in that province on the Atlantic coast. When they ask you there, Wapan man, you know they are one of us. Muchísimas gracias a ustedes y saludos a todos mis amigos en Costa Rica. Gracias. Thank you, Sir Bartley.
Thank you very much, Professor Paulette Ramsey, my friend. And thanks for the reminder. It seems, ministers, that when we played Costa Rica last night, anybody win is everybody win. Yes. Same team. Wonderful, wonderful. And so we continue as we move down towards the closure of this event. We have a few other important elements of what we do. And now we move to the post office. The post office plays a very important role. I mean, not many people get letters anymore. Some of us grew up, not you, Minister Kamina, some of us grew up in the days of telegram, when the only thing we know when something serious has happened was to see this man arrive at our house with a telegram. Some people know other things, like email. But that's it. So here we go to the post office, the Costa Rican post office, and I'm going to invite Mr. Kenneth Campos, International Relations Manager of the Costa Rican Post Office, to do this important part of our day's activity. Mr. Campos.
Good day to everyone present, physical or virtually. A special greeting to the first Vice President of the Republic of Costa Rica, Epsi Campbell Barr, Mr. Rodolfo Solano Quiroz, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Worship of the Republic of Costa Rica, Her Excellency, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica, Her Excellency, the Honorable Olivia Grange, CP, MP, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport of Jamaica, His Excellency, Senator the Honorable Leslie Campbell, Minister of State, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica, Mrs. Gina Guillen-Guillot, Ambassador of the Republic of Costa Rica to Jamaica, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors credited to the governments of Costa Rica and Jamaica, high authorities from Costa Rica and Jamaica, Mr. Nestor Matiz Williams, Mayor of the City of Limón, Representatives David Guzon Cerdas, people from Habdeba and Casa de la Cultura, thank you very much for being here, special guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, buenas tardes. At the beginning of the 20th century, a world reorganization happened that resulted in new ways of thinking and a whole new system of beliefs that conceive that human beings are truly free beings. Social groups gathered to demand a better and more inclusive world. Meanwhile, the Afro-descendant community played a leading role represented by leaders such as Marcus Garvey, who promoted the empowerment of its people. Although groups of power opposed his ideals and goals, he never gave up his struggles. In advance of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Garvey issued the Declaration of the Rights of the Negro Peoples of the World in 1920. And as such, we can quote a series of affirmative and reivindicative actions for the rights of the Afro-descendant community, of the time, of today, and of the future. Just as Garvey defended the ideals of union and liberty as a path for development, also, by fighting against prejudice and stereotypes nowadays, the world proactively seeks to overcome these obstacles and to defeat all barriers. This is an important reason of existence of the universal postal system, and in this context of global emergency, it acquires an important role of leading and strengthening the ties between countries for the sake of economic and social progress. Today, we wish to remember the legacy of this great leader from the Costa Rican philately with a postmark dedicated to the 5th anniversary of the establishment of the bilateral relations between Jamaica and Costa Rica. Our country has an invaluable cultural diversity in which the legacy of the Afro-descendant community stands out. Many of them are direct migrants from the island of Jamaica as well as from other Caribbean islands. The postmark has been illustrated with a line drawing of the effigy of the citizen Marcus Garvey, wearing a military attire, accompanied by the legend of the postmark's name and the date of circulation. It will be stamped on an official letterhead envelope of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Worship of Costa Rica, which will bear the stamp of the iconic calypsonian Walter Ferguson, which appeared in the 2020 National Musicians and Composer Postal Broadcast. It is an honor for Correos de Costa Rica, the Costa Rican Post, to preserve the image of Marcus Garvey as part of the country's postal history, precisely in the framework of the centenary of his visit to the city of Limón in 1921. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kenneth Campos, International Relations Manager for Costa Rican Post Office. Good to have that commemorative stamp. And so we come now to a cultural presentation from Jamaica. Julian Ricardo Marley, two-time Grammy Award nominee and son of the legendary reggae icon Bob Marley. Julian Marley follows in his father's footsteps, a devout Rastafari who uses his music to inspire his life and spirituality. A reggae musician, songwriter, producer, and humanitarian. Jamaica presents Julian Marley.
One love, one heart, let's together and feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Got to unite right now. Got to live in love right now. Let's get together and feel alright. Unite, yeah. East, west, north, and south. No matter where you are, gotta get together now.
Thank you, Julian Marley. And our Costa Rican friends from the post office, I'm the one to want us to view the postmark that they've just installed, inaugurated. Here we go. Okay, we'll get to it when it comes on. Dr. Quince Duncan, Costa Rican writer, National Literature Award recipient, author, co-author, and contributor to more than 50 books, human rights activist with emphasis on racism and the history and rights of people of African descent, with a degree in Latin American Studies from Idela National University. Gracias, gracias. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Quince Duncan, as Doctor of Humanistic Letters at the University of St. Olaf, Minnesota, United States, Dr. honoris causa, University of Costa Rica, Professor Emeritus of the National University of Costa Rica. He has been a professor of the National University, director of the Institute of Latin American Studies, member of the University Council, full professor or guest in universities in and out of Costa Rica, has been part of international bodies fighting for human rights, such as the World Council of Churches Program to Combat Racism, African Diasporan Project of Michigan State University, International Scientific Community of the UNESCO Slave Route Project. He has also served as Commissioner for Afro-Descendant Affairs during the administration of President Luis Guillermo Solis Rivera, 2014 to 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Quince Duncan, formidable Costa Rican author.
Very much, Vice President Campbell, Honorable Ambassador Gina Guillen, ambassadors, ministers, Minister Johnson Smith, ministers and other government officials, legislators of Costa Rica and Jamaica, my dear professor and friend Paulette Ramsey, distinguished participants. Let's take a look back in time, but let's take a look back with a couple of stories, because you see, I am a writer of short stories. And since the history has been presented to you already by several of those that went before me, I think I would just mention a few issues that illustrates our relation. Some years ago, I was invited by the University of the West Indies, Mona campus, to speak about Jamaican diaspora to Central America. The Jamaican consul in Costa Rica had died, so I went to Jamaica without a visa. And the officer was not very, the migration officer was not very happy about that. So why are you coming to Jamaica? Well, I tried to explain that I was coming to speak about Jamaicans abroad And that I was invited by the university. I presented to him my official invitation. And after a while, he said, you know what? Jamaicans don't migrate to any of those countries. We go to Canada. But okay, so after arguing for a while, I said in a very affirmative tone, sir, where you think me get my name from? My grandparents come here, you know, come from here, Montego Bay and Trelawney Parish, you know. The gentleman stamped my passport immediately and let me go through the migration system. In other words, he recognized in my speech my I don't know, you call it Jamaicanity or something like that, the essence of Jamaican that was still in me. Jamaicans came to Costa Rica, yes, to build a railroad, and they converted Limon in a little Jamaica. They modified their original mento music to insert to some degree Trinitarian calypso beat. They kept and told their nice stories, danced their quadrilles, organized their churches and lodges, and their mutually social security, such as the burial scheme. In the rural environment, they created small farms to feed themselves. They grew bananas, cocoa, chocho, breadfruit, and yes, sir, they cooked their rondong and the rice and beans, rice and peas. And professionals and other independent workers practiced in the most diverse situation. Of course, when some of the Costa Ricans that came along was not very happy about having to come to Costa Rica. Mr. Alderman Johnson Roden, for example, was a very young man, and he was, I think, was Baptist by religion, but he had got a scholarship to study in a Roman Catholic seminar or high school. His father was mad about that, so he decided, you know what? We're going to Costa Rica, so I don't want my child to be in a Roman Catholic school. So they came to Costa Rica, this Alderman Johnson Roden being a very young boy. And to grasp the momentum, let me read one of his first poems called Nostalgia. Magic's in the name of home, powers in its spell, how I miss my native land, I alone can tell. See the love blue mountain, every rill, each fountain, see the John to it, hear them chirp, do it, do it. Daily I'm pining, evermore I'm sad, oh, I'm returning to the land of God. So Jamaica is the land of God, and is planning, we want to go back to Jamaica. And this is true. And for many Jamaicans, I witnessed a Jamaican in his dying bed in Costa Rica, crying bitterly because he had to leave his bone in Costa Rica. Could not get them back to Jamaica before he died. Now, some years ago, I visited Jamaica, invited by several entities, including the Jamaican government and Costa Rican government. We organized a showcase of Costa Rica in Jamaica. So we went with people from different parts of the country, different cultures. But I was set up at the home of a gentleman who, of course, didn't look Jamaican to me. For all consideration, for me, it was just another Englishman. But then we started talking, and this man started asking me about Costa Rican leaders. He asked me about Jose Figueres, which was the Costa Rican president, and he went on to ask me about Equipo Saprissa, the Saprissa football team, which is one of the most important team in Costa Rica. So, everybody started looking at me and making signs. How could this guy know so much about the country? But we found out that he was one of those that came to Costa Rica, made up his own farm, had his own farm, and but returned to Jamaica when he became old to spend his latter days in Jamaica. So, but the story goes on that I was also in the home of one person related to this gentleman. And when we were coming back on the train, this gentleman came to me to say goodbye. Identified himself as the pilot of the plane. I'm sorry, and so we had a good conversation. He said, "I'm going to say goodbye to you all now because I will not see you when we go back to San Jose. I'm leaving." So since I had got such a good attention in Jamaica, I offered my home. I said, "Wouldn't you like to stay at my home when you come back to Costa Rica? I have a space for you." He said, "Thank you very much, but I have my own home in Tibas." Now, Tibas is a nearby town in San Jose. So the gentleman, being the son of migrants who came to Costa Rica, worked and went back to Jamaica, still had his home in Costa Rica. Sometimes we make fun of ourselves because this is a famous story about this Jamaican, one of us who went back to Jamaica. No? The man became very rich. The few that really made money in Costa Rica and went back to Jamaica, and he organized this big party. And they said he told the people, "No, this party is being big, but I don't want any Negro here. Okay? No black person is supposed to come in to this party." And so the party the party started, and everybody was so happy. So he presented himself. So of course, it's his party, and they wouldn't let him in. "What do you mean? No, you said no. The organizer said no black person is to come in. So sorry, you can't come in." Now that's how we have a laugh all the time about ourselves. Now we have. We are all over the country, in and out of Costa Rica. We have many people that are very famous. We have had, of course, our vice president. We have had beauty queens. We have had famous educators, legislators, football players, people in the field of science, painters, cultural activists, etc. So, and then we gradually became Costa Ricans, whether by adoption or by birth. So let me finish this part by reading another poem by Alderman Johnson Roden, which after 50 or more years in Costa Rica, he experienced a volcano that burst out in Costa Rica. It was the Arenal volcano. We all thought it was a mountain, and then suddenly the thing blasted up, and people who were living on the mountain, and cattle and everything died out. So Mr. Alderman Johnson Roden, remember, Jamaica was he wanted to go back to Jamaica. Listen to him now. "Verdant custom in vines and trees that wave to every passing breeze. We never suspected that from your heart such vile destruction could be brought. We even said that you were dead, but you were asleep, not as we said. Then awake, nauseous, you vomited death. Lava, stones, fire with every breath. We mourn because your cruelty has wiped out many a family. Cruel sirs, you did not spare the mother with her baby dear. You didn't even spare the beasts. Seemingly you counted them the least. Helpless, for your onslaught they died, and mourned, but to you sacrificed. And now we pray, do stay your hand. Our stricken, beloved, afflicted land cries out in pain. Spare us these deaths, and thus we plead with each drawn breath." So you see that Mr. Alderman Johnson had become a Costa Rican by adoption, and he was now speaking about our stricken, beloved, afflicted land relating to Costa Rica. So yes, we came to Costa Rica, we built the railroad, cultivated and teach the local population how to grow bananas, thus contributing to the wealth of this nation. And over the years, Costa Rica has become our stricken, beloved, afflicted land, in the words of the poet. We are now dispersed all over the country and elsewhere, but the majority of us still hang on to our Jamaican heritage. And the only time when we are opposed to Jamaica is when we play against your national football team. And we're so happy to beat you. But we take much pride in Bob Marley, Usain Bolt, and of course, we consider Marcus Garvey as our own hero. Thank you for your invitation, and those are my comments.
Thank you very much, Dr. Quince Duncan, author. Just to let him know that we are very hospitable and kind people, which is why we allowed them to beat us. It was a recognition of this event. So we said, let Costa Rica have their day, and we will have our tomorrow. So, okay, Professor Duncan, we'll catch up, we will see. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we come now to the end of this very important event. 50 years of diplomatic relations between Jamaica and the Republic of Costa Rica. A very, very important milestone, and we look forward to the next 50 years. And 50 years upon the 150 years of our relationships within movements and culture. And so we are happy. And so I just want to thank the Ministry of Culture, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Worship of Costa Rica, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Jamaica for this event. We also like to recognize the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport for their support of this event. For the persons who have worked so much on the event, we'd like to recognize the Costa Rican Telecommunications Institute and the Cultural Center in Limón. We recognize also our own PBCJ, Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, who has been the host of this event. And we thank them. We thank you all for bringing us together in this period, even during this COVID. Those who have been with us in virtual spaces and those who have been with us physically, we acknowledge your presence. We've shared a wonderful occasion. And I simply leave you with one word of Marcus Garvey: be as proud of your race today as our fathers were in the days of yore. We have a beautiful history, and we shall create another in the future that will astonish the world. Anybody who looks at Bob Marley, Usain Bolt, etc., we have astonished the world. Let us continue the process. Long live, God bless, walk good, and may good Duppy walk with you. Hasta luego.
You can't outrun the simple truth. There is just something about Jamaica. Yes, it is the land itself, rising up out of the Caribbean Sea like a colorful, warm promise. A place where discipline and training meets the winning spirit of a people who not only know how to make champions from humble beginnings, but also how to win, and win graciously for everyone. But it is also the Jamaican people who have raced through time and history, producing a larger-than-life culture that lifts everyone higher, then cools you down with the life-giving heartbeat reggae music. Jamaican music grabs you by the beat of your pants, moves your feet, stirs your heart, and satisfies your soul. And here in the land where 96 degrees in the shade is a joyous song, our artists craft one love from wood and metal and even the screen, as if fashioning next level concepts, designs and style from every rocks, the sea, the sand. And yet sometimes antique pieces rise up from ages past to excite and to wow you. Our fashion designers bring the natural mystic to clothe bodies and feet, while our world-class supermodels strut where angels fear to tread. It is not paradise, but there's a heavenly taste to the food, and that spirit in the rum makes it almost paradise. The aromas, the spices, the tastes bring that warm feeling to your body and that feeling to your face. Heavenly. Here in Jamaica, the spirit of imagination whispers in the hungry ears of our literary artists. Lyrical genius resounds in dub poetry and spoken word, but sometimes it's as quiet as pen on paper. Either way, the voices of generations are just keyboard and mouse clicks away. Our performing artists, like soul athletes, soar with sound, rhythm, and color to bring dance, music, and drama alive in places that you never even knew had a pulse. The steadiness of the Jamaican cultural and creative industry is remarkable. From the historical theaters and dramatic forms to the dance halls where we link up for feats of magical movement. The creative energy here is vibrant and alive, just like the culture. Here, the race is not only for the swift, but also for the culture that endures, in an industry that is growing brighter day by day. This way of living is how we are meant to be, champions of love, life, and liberty. Jamaica boasts a diversity in culture, true to our motto, out of many, one people.